6:30 on a Tuesday morning. My coffee was still hot. The air smelled like wet grass and the sky was just starting to glow pink over Pine Haven Meadows. I was thinking it'd be a perfect day for a sunrise ride until I saw her. My Harley. The bike I'd spent 15 years restoring. Gasoline dripping onto the concrete ignition, punched out chrome gouged deep and right through the airbrushed name of my late wife Miranda. The smell of fuel hit like a slap, sharp and mean, and before I could even move, I heard a voice behind me, smug, careless. "Shouldn't park your trash out here, old man." It was Jackson Calloway, the 20-something kid from across the cul-de-sac, phone already pressed to his ear. "Yeah, 911 guy at 42 Larkspur threatened to kill me." Sirens started wailing before I even spoke. You ever feel reality tilt under your feet? That second when anger and disbelief mix into something cold, that's what hit me right then. Jackson didn't know who I was or what kind of man he'd just decided to mess with. My name's Garrett Trudeau, 59. Retired ATF special agent, 22 years chasing gun traffickers and cartel launderers through the south side of Chicago. I'd been shot at, lied to, threatened by men who'd kill without blinking. And somehow this suburban punk thought he could intimidate me with a phone call. I moved to Pine Haven 3 years ago after Miranda died. Cancer took her in 11 months. We'd been married 31 years. After the funeral, I sold our house, cashed out my pension, and came here 40 minutes outside Indianapolis because I thought I was done fighting. Pine Haven promised peace, the kind of place where the biggest dispute was over sprinkler schedules. For a while, it was fine. I mowed at 8 a.m., Sharp helped Mrs. Kowalski next door carry groceries, waved to neighbors I didn't know. Then I met Deandra Calloway. Deandra was 52, divorced, sharp-featured, always in yoga gear, and that fake friendly smile that never reached her eyes. She was the HOA treasurer, but ran the place like a private fiefdom. Her son Jackson still lived with her loud car, no-job attitude inherited straight from Mom. First week my Harley sat in the driveway legal as per the bylaws I'd actually read. I found a notice under the seat. Motorcycles must be garaged. Diminishes property values. $150 fine starts Monday. I double-checked the rules. Section 7C. Motorcycles are explicitly allowed in driveways. So I sent a polite email to the board with a screenshot. Thought that'd be the end of it. Instead, Deandra called an emergency meeting and invented a brand new rule, visual blight amendment. Passed it 3 votes to 2. My driveway suddenly became illegal overnight. At first I tried to laugh it off. Maybe she just wanted to prove her power. But the next week her son started revving that Dodge Charger outside my bedroom window at 6 every morning. Then came the trash bags dumped on my lawn. Taco Bell wrappers, energy drink cans, all sharpied with his name like a signature. By day 7, I'd installed cameras, 4 of them positioned perfectly within Indiana law. Every morning at 6, there he was on tape doing his little performance. I made a spreadsheet, timestamps, decibel readings, license plate photos. When you've built federal cases, you learn documentation beats drama every time. Then the hammer dropped. A certified letter, $600 in fines for motorcycle parking, signed by Deandra herself. Problem was, she wasn't the president. She'd forged authority. That's not just HOA overreach, that's fraud. I started calling around. One board member, Gregory Matsuno, sounded terrified. Another, Yolanda, whispered that the finances didn't add up. The cracks were there. I just needed to push. But that night, 2:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Motion alert. I checked the feed. Jackson again crouched by my Harley, keying the tank in long, slow strokes right through Miranda's name. Then he pulled a screwdriver and jammed the ignition. I froze. Every muscle screamed to storm out there. But the part of me trained for decades whispered, "Let him finish." I needed it undeniable. He flipped off the camera before strolling away like he'd taken out the trash. When the damage sank in, I felt something I hadn't felt since Miranda's funeral hollow. I sat in the dark till sunrise, staring at her name carved apart. By dawn I was shaking, not from fear but from restraint, because the moment I lost my temper, he'd win. At 6:30, right on schedule, Jackson crossed the street, fake concern dripping from his voice. "Morning, neighbor. Something wrong with your bike?" I took a slow sip of coffee. "You looked right at the camera," I said. His smirk faltered. "2:47 this morning. Keyed the tank, punched the ignition, flipped the camera off." Another sip. "Felony criminal mischief. Damage over $3,000. That's 2 to 8 years, son." His face went from smug to ghost white. "You're threatening me?" he stammered, dialing his phone. "Good," I told him. "Save me the trouble." When the cops arrived, I kept my hands visible, calm as ever. "Sergeant Nyland," I said, handing him the USB drive. "High-definition footage, time-stamped." He looked at the screen, then back at me. Recognition clicked. "Trudeau, ATF, Bridgeport." His tone changed completely. Jackson's confidence evaporated. Deandra came screeching up in her bathrobe, shouting about harassment and illegal cameras. Neelan just sighed. "Ma'am, your son's under arrest for felony vandalism." The cuffs clicked, and for the first time I saw real fear in her eyes. I wish that had been the end. Next morning, a new letter hit my mailbox. "Emergency special assessment, $5, $800 per household for legal and road repairs. Payment due in 24 hours. I called township offices, no repairs scheduled, no permits filed. So where was the money going? I dug deeper. HOA statements showed $47,000 paid to Callaway Consulting, LLC. Registered at her home address. She was embezzling. Classic, small-time corruption power money, no oversight. That night I sat on the porch watching her lights flicker through the blinds, and for the first time I felt tired. Just bone-deep tired. Maybe I should let it go. Sell the house, leave Pine Haven behind. Miranda was gone. Why keep fighting? But then I looked at that Harley in the garage, scratched and broken, and thought, if I let people like her win, what's left of the world Miranda believed in? That was my line in the sand. So I made calls, talked to neighbors Kowalski Brunellis, Rick the contractor. All had been squeezed by Deandra's fake fines. 8 families, nearly $30,000 stolen. A reporter, Sloan Beckett, reached out, said she'd been investigating HOA fraud for years, and a legal aid attorney, Marcus Feinstein, agreed to help pro bono. Together we built the plan. Public exposure legal filings, one perfect ambush. 3 weeks later, Deandra scheduled another special meeting. We let her think she'd won. The night before, I uploaded everything to a website bank, transfers photos, HOA charter sections, every receipt cross-checked. Transparency, my old boss used to say, is credibility's best friend. That morning, the community center parking lot overflowed. Deandra strutted in wearing a power suit, hair lacquered stiff. Her Audi parked across 2 spaces. She called the meeting to order with that fake authoritative crack of the gavel. Some residents think they're above the rules. She began glaring straight at me. Gregory, the real president, stood. I moved to add an item to the agenda: financial discrepancies and board authority limits. You could have heard a pin drop. Out of order, Deandra snapped. Robert's rules allow it. Gregory shot back, voice shaking but steady. I'm president. I'm amending. Then Marcus stood up. Marcus Feinstein, attorney for 8 homeowners. I have evidence of embezzlement and fraudulent fines. He started handing out binders, 30 copies. Inside the Callaway Consulting payments, the fake snow removal invoices, the illegal parking amendment. Gasps spread like wildfire. Deandra lunged forward, shouting slander, but before she could snatch the papers, a woman in a blazer stepped through the door. Deandra Callaway, she said. You've been served. Process server. Perfect timing. Deandra ripped open the envelope, face draining color as she read. Marcus's voice carried over the rising noise. 3 filings, injunction to freeze fees, class action for fraudulent fines and audit demand. The room erupted, shouting anger relief. Someone yelled, I paid $1,200 for a deck violation that never existed. Another shouted, she threatened CPS over my fence. Deandra's last supporters sat, frozen eyes wide. I stood slowly. Mrs. Callaway, I said evenly, Section 12C of the 2006 Charter Parking Amendments require a 75% homeowner vote. You never held one. Every fine you issued was illegal. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. And Callaway Consulting registered to your home $47,000 in HOA payments. Township records show no road repairs, no snow removal. So tell us, what services did you provide? She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The silence stretched. Then an older man near the front spoke. I move we remove Deandra Callaway from the board for cause. Gregory seconded. Hands rose across the room, dozens of them. The vote was unanimous. Deandra stood, trembling papers slipping from her fingers. You'll regret this, she hissed. I leaned in just enough for only her to hear. No, I said, you will. She stormed out, heels clattering on linoleum, and the door slammed behind her like a gunshot. For a second, nobody moved. Then Mrs. Kowalski started clapping. Others joined until the sound filled the hall. I didn't smile. I just sat down, staring at the empty doorway, letting the noise wash over me. Because the truth is, this was never about a bike or bylaws or even Deandra. It was about what happens when decent people stop checking the rules, stop questioning the ones who make them. They called me stubborn. Maybe I am. But if I've learned anything after a lifetime chasing corruption from cartels to cul-de-sacs, it's this: power only works when you let it.